14 games from Saturday's Week 2 college football. I should have said Week 2. It is Week 2 college football. Before we get to them, just a couple things. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free college football picks are updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports. We also have NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, WNBA, CFL, European football, a lot more. So it is a good time to subscribe. And also, if you want to support our channel, like the video, hit the thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. Remember, visit Tony'sPicks.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing top cappers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers, guys up there that have been red hot. Guys like Collins, he's been red hot so far right now in college football. Yours truly has been doing very well in the, I should say, in the Major League Baseball. So click the links and get signed up to one of the cappers packages. You'll find our premium picks at the top of the page. Free picks on the drop-down menu. And of course, right over here, you'll find our best bets. Click that, and you'll find our best bets of the day from each of the cappers. They can designate one best bet per sport per day. It's got to really stand on their card. You can see we have some up there right now. Mindy, Tiffany, Paul, and Ben with some plays up there on their best bets. Our $15 premium pick. Each capper can designate one of their picks as a $15 premium to showcase their service, introduce their service. And as you can see here, a lot of the cappers have made their best bet their $15 premium. So go ahead and get signed up for that. Of course, I'll let you guys know about our promo code right now that we have running. You can save 20% off all premium pick packages when you use that promo code TonyT at checkout. You can access our page by clicking the link in the description. Click the All Cappers tab and get signed up. Always love to hear from you guys. Post your picks in the comments below. And we are looking for handicaps to apply. Go to Tony'sPicks.com footer section to submit your form. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get this one started. South Carolina and Arkansas college football pick for Saturday. South Carolina moves to 1-0 with that 35-14 home win to Georgia State. Gamecocks had struggles running the football on the Panthers as they gained just 79 yards on 32 carries. Spencer Rattler, the transfer here from Oklahoma, 23 of 37 for 227 yards with a touchdown and pick. Arkansas got past Cincinnati 31-24. Razorbacks were able to move the football for 447 yards on that Bearcats defense. It was a balanced attack. They rushed for 224 yards on 45 carries. KJ Jefferson, 18 of 26 for 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. The dual threat quarterback rushed for 62 yards and a touchdown. It'll be the first meeting between these teams since 2017. But Rattler's interceptions and their lack of run game against the Sun Belt team at home is the concern here. Gamecocks lost all 4 true road games last year, with 3 of those losses by 25 points or greater. The play here will be Arkansas minus the 7.5. Alabama and Texas college football pick for Saturday. Crimson Tide opened their season with a 55-0 victory at home to the defending Mountain West champion Utah State Aggies. Crimson Tide rolled up 559 yards on that Aggies defense, building up a 41 lead at the half. Bryce Young, 18 of 28 for 195 yards, 5 touchdowns until giving way to the backups. Young rushed for 100 yards and a touchdown. Alabama held Utah State to only 79 rushing yards on 37 carries with only 8 of 22 through the air. Longhorns opened up at home against UL Monroe. From the Sun Belt, they win 52-10. Texas piled up 483 yards in the win. Quarterback Quinn Ewers went 16 of 24 for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. Longhorns' offense with another year of experience will be improved. The defense, though, their major concern, coming off a 93rd ranking in points allowed, 100th in yards per play. On the road last season, Crimson Tide did give up 29 to Florida, 41 to Texas A&M early in the season. Longhorns defense could be in for a long day, but their offense should find the end zone enough to push this total over. The play here, Alabama and Texas over 61.5. Wake Forest versus Vanderbilt college football pick. This one here is on Saturday. Demon Deacons opened with FCS VMI, came away with a 44-10 home win behind 506 yards. Vanderbilt improved to 2-0 after their 42-31 win to FCS Elon. That was after playing at Hawaii in a late game the following week. Commodores were outgained by the Phoenix as Elon rushed for 150 yards. They threw the ball for 343. Of course, Wake Forest has 7 starters back on offense, 6 to the defense. Demon Deacons are without their starting quarterback Sam Hartman with the illness. Mitch Griffiths in his start against Elon, 21-29, 288 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has his top running backs, receivers, and 4 from the offensive line back. Demon Deacons did play well on the road last season. Commodores defense the concern here. They gave 475 yards a game last season. They gave up 495 yards to FCS Elon. That's not very good. The play here will be Wake Forest -7. Missouri versus Kansas State, college football pick for Saturday. Missouri opened their season with a 52-24 home win to Louisiana Tech. Tigers piled up 558 yards in the win behind a balanced attack. The run game produced 323 yards. Brady Cook hit on 18 of 27 passes for 201 yards with a touchdown and pick. Tigers held the Bulldogs to only 11 rushing yards on 22 carries. Kansas State hosted FCS South Dakota. They win 34-0. Wildcats ran almost 3 times as much as they threw, gained 299 yards on the ground. Quarterback Adrian Martinez, 11 of 15 for 53 yards, but ran for only 39 yards on 13 carries. Of course, Skylar Thompson was a huge loss for the Wildcats. Martinez's backup will be Will Howard. He completed only 54% of his passes, had more interceptions than touchdown passes. Tigers have 8 starters back on a defense, so this unit should be improved. The world knows that Missouri is 2-12 against the spread on the road, but too many points to give the Tigers with this Kansas State, all this turnover Kansas State had on their offensive side. The play here will be Missouri plus 8.5. Duke versus Northwestern, college football pick. This one is on Saturday. Duke moved to 1-0 here with their 30-0 win at home to a really down Temple team. Blue Devils were able to move the football for 500 yards in the win. First-year starter Riley Leonard, 24 of 30 for 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. The run game generated 172 yards. They limited a rebuilding Alice team just 179 yards and forced 2 turnovers. Northwestern comes off a bye week after the 31-28 win in Ireland against Nebraska. After a bad 2021, the Wildcats showed great improvement to their offense that generated 528 yards. South Carolina transfer Ryan Helinski completed 27 of 38 passes for 314 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wildcats' strong performance on the ground, 214 yards rushing. Defense did surrender 465 yards to Nebraska with 355 in the passing game. Both offenses showing improvement, and Northwestern's defense the concern. The play here will be on Duke at Northwestern over a total of 55 points. Ohio versus Penn State, college football pick. This one on Saturday. Ohio 1-0 after their 41-38 home win to FAU. Bobcats moved the football for 476 yards in the win. Curtis Rourke completed 27 of 34 for 345 yards, 4 touchdowns. They did run the football for 131 yards. Bobcats struggled against the pass, giving up 364 yards passing to the Owls. Penn State comes off the 35-31 road win at Purdue. Quarterback Sean Clifford led the Nittany Lions on a game-winning drive in the final seconds. He finished 20 of 37 for 282 yards with 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. Penn State ran for only 98 yards on 32 carries. They did allow Purdue 356 passing yards, but was strong defending the run, allowing just 70 yards. Experienced quarterback for Ohio, inexperienced defense for Penn State. We'll favor the underdog here. The play here will be Ohio plus the 24.5. Arkansas State versus Ohio State, college football pick for Saturday. Arkansas State to open with FCS Grambling. They blew them out 58-3. Redhawks returned 5 starters on offense and defense. The team comes off a 2-10 season, sitting 122nd in scoring defense, giving up 40 points a game. Offensively, Arkansas State was 121st in the nation on third down, averaged just 2.6 yards to carry on the ground. They did move the football through the air for 313 yards, but opponents rushed for 6.6 yards to carry on them, 8.5 yards for pass attempt. Only 1 starter returns to the offensive line. In Ohio State, they moved to 1-0 with their 21-10 home win to Notre Dame. Buckeyes defense led the way, but holding the Fighting Irish just 253 yards and 76 rushing yards. C.J. Stroud completed 24 of 34 for 223 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, more was expected from that Ohio State offense in the opener, and they find an opponent to sign their critics. They could put up over 60 on this Red Wolves team that gave up an average of 520 yards per game in 2021. The play here will be Ohio State laid the minus 43.5. Southern Miss versus Miami, college football pick. This one goes off on Saturday. Southern Miss fell to 0-1 with their 29-27 home defeat to Liberty. Golden Hurricane was able to move the football for 391 yards on the Flames. The run game generated 252 yards. Southern Miss threw a total of 14 passes in the game and ran it 54 times. Defensively, the Golden Hurricane surrendered 447 yards to Liberty offense with 244 on the ground. Miami 1-0 after their 70-13 home win to FCS Bethune-Cookman. It was a good debut for Mario Cristobal with the Hurricanes. 7 return on offense and defense. Tyler Van Dyke back at quarterback with 3 starters on the offensive line. Miami has their top running backs returning but exiting were their top 2 receivers, but the remainder are all back. Golden Eagles were a poor offensive team in 2021, scoring just 16 points and gaining 259 yards a game. The passing game was non-existent in their opener. The play here will be Miami minus the 26. North Carolina versus Georgia State, college football pick for Saturday. North Carolina comes off the 63-61 win against Appalachian State. Tar Heels win despite allowing 40 points in the final quarter. Tar Heels did move the football for 567 yards with 215 rushing. Drake Mayer completed 24-36 for 352 yards, 4 touchdowns. In 2 games, May completing 72% of his passes for 8.8 yards per pass attempt, totaling 9 touchdowns. Defense surrendered 649 yards to Appalachian State with 288 rushing and 361 through the air. Georgia State opened up on the road, were defeated 35-14 at South Carolina. Georgia State run game and defense kept them competitive for nearly 3 full quarters as the game got away from the Panthers in the final 20 minutes. Quarterback Darren Granger, 7 of 29 passing for 111 yards and a touchdown. This is an experienced Georgia State team returning 8 starters on the offense and 7 to the defense. Tar Heels defense was on the field for 81 plays. Defense looks soft, but the offense should be able to move the football in Georgia State. The play here, North Carolina and Georgia State over 67.5. UTSA versus Army, college football pick for action on Saturday. UTSA fell to 0-1 with their 37-35 home overtime defeat to a good Houston team. Roadrunners were able to move the football for 441 yards on the Cougars' defense. This is an experienced team returning 8 starters on offense. Roadrunners couldn't hold a 21-17 lead after 3 quarters, that is. Their run game sputtered, but quarterback Frank Harris, 28-43 for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with a pick. Harris has 4 offensive linemen back. On defense, UTSA allowed 346 yards to Houston with 206 through the air. Army, they fell to 0-1 with that 38-28 road defeat to Coastal Carolina. Black Knights in this one were able to gain 347 yards, 205 rushing, 5 yards a carry average. Army attempted just 8 passes for 142 yards, though, with 2 touchdowns and a pick. The Black Knights, well, they did allow 439 yards here to the Chanticleers, 265 rushing. Army surrendered 172 passing yards with 3 touchdowns. It was 12 of 17 their opponents passed for. Was impressed with their Roadrunners' offensive production against a good Houston team. The play here will be UTSA -2. South Alabama and Central Michigan college football pick. This one here is on Saturday. South Alabama opened the FCS Nicholls State. They won 48-7 behind 508 yards of offense. This is an experienced team returning 8 starters on offense and defense. Toledo transfer Carter Bradley threw for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns on 17 of 25 against Nicholls State. Jaguars' run game has sputtered the past 2 seasons. Big improvement for South Alabama on the defense, greatly increasing their sacks and interceptions. Central Michigan opened on the road at Oklahoma State. They lost 58-44. Chippewas fell behind 44-15 at the half and scored 2 late touchdowns when the game was decided. Central Michigan faltered on the ground with only 122 yards on the ground on 39 rushes. Chippewas kept quarterback Daniel Richardson in for the full game, 36-49, 424 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Jaguars lost their final 4 games last year, all by 7 or greater points, and have lost 5 straight overall on the road. Got to respect the Chippewas head coach Jim McElwain and his ability to get Central Michigan to get points on a Cowboys defense that played well last season. The play here at Central Michigan at -4.5. Western Michigan and Ball State college football pick for Saturday. Western Michigan opened at Michigan State, dropped the 35-13 decision. The offense returned only 4 starters, gained only 334 yards on the Spartans' defense. Broncos surrendered 7 sacks. Jack Selipek hit on 21 and 26 passes for 194 yards. Defense surrendered 430 yards to the Spartans and 197 on the ground. Broncos allowed over 19 yards per completion and 4 touchdown passes. Now Ball State 0-1. They lose 59-19 on the road to Tennessee. Cardinals lost half their starters and had to replace a good quarterback in Drew Blitt. John Paddock completed 27-43 for 269 yards, a touchdown, but 2 picks. They had trouble really running on the Volunteers at just 74 yards on 27 carries. Broncos' lack of experience on offense the concern. Ball State has experience on their offensive line and did not give up a sack last week. The play here will be Ball State at +6.5. Marshall versus Notre Dame college football pick for Saturday. Marshall opened with FCS Norfolk State, came away with a 55-3 win at home. Thunder and Herd returned 5 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. Now, Texas Tech transfer Henry Colombi was able to put up good numbers against that FCS opponent, 24-26 for 205 yards with a touchdown and a pick. 6 starters do return on defense. They held Norfolk State just 114 yards total. Returning is their top running back and some talent at the receiver position. Thunder and Herd is inexperienced in their secondary position. Notre Dame comes off a 21-10 road defeat at Ohio State in their opener. Fighting Irish were held to only 253 yards. The run game was a major disappointment compared to past teams as Notre Dame rushed for only 76 yards on 30 carries. Quarterback Tyler Buckner, 10 of 18 passes, 177 yards. Thunder and Herd were a good road team last year. They had a 1-point loss at App State, blowout wins at Texas, FAU, and Charlotte. Although a huge step up from these teams, this is a program that can stay within 3 touchdowns against a Notre Dame team looking like a downgrade from previous seasons. The play here will be Marshall plus 20.5. Tennessee versus Pittsburgh, a college football pick for Saturday. Tennessee opened their season at home to Ball State. They win 59-10. Vols pushed around their MAC opponent for 569 yards, running for 218. Quarterback Hendon Hooker hit on 18 of 25 for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is an experienced team with 8 on offense, back and 7 to the defense. Vols struggled on defense in 2021, sitting 97th in scoring defense and 106th on third down. Teams threw for 284 yards on this Volunteers defense in 2021. Now Pittsburgh moved to 1-0, a 38-31 home win to an improved West Virginia team. Panthers moved the football for 384 yards, only 76 rushing. Keaton Slovis, 16 of 24 for 308 yards and a touchdown. Not willing to lay a touchdown with the Vols team struggling as much as they did on the defensive side of the football last year. The play here will be on Pittsburgh plus the 7. Appalachian State and Texas A&M college football pick for Saturday. App State fell to 0-1. They lose 63-61 at home to North Carolina. They overcame a 20-point fourth quarter deficit, tied the game at 49-49 late. A missed 2-point conversion in the final seconds cost the Mountaineers a shot at overtime, despite scoring 40 points in that fourth quarter. App State put up 649 yards, running for 288. Defense did give 567 yards to that Tar Heels offense, 352 passing, 215 on the ground. Duke transfer Chase Bricewell, effective 25-26 for 361 yards, 6 touchdowns. Now Texas A&M opened with FCS school Sam Houston State. They win 31-0. Hayden King hit on 20-31, 364 yards with 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. The defense shined in the win, just allowing just 198 yards. Aggies returned 5 stars on offense with 5 of the defense. Now App State was held to 23 points at Miami, 16 and 13 in their 2 meetings at Louisiana. Would lean to the Aggies defense, but not comfortable in their offense to cover this game. The play here will be Appalachian State and Texas A&M under 55.5. Colorado versus Air Force, college football pick for Saturday. Colorado comes off a 38-13 home defeat to DCU. Buffaloes get outscored 31-7 in the second half. The offense showed a pulse with 348 yards, but the run game sputtered. Brendan Lewis completed 13 of 18 passes for 78 yards. JT Stroud saw time, went 13 of 23 for 157 yards and a touchdown. Buffalo surrendered 275 yards rushing to the Horned Frogs in defeat as they averaged nearly 9 yards a carry. Air Force opened up with FCS Northern Iowa. They win 48-17. As expected, they crushed the Golden Panthers on the ground with their triple option, 582 yards on 62 carries on the ground. Zeke Daniels attempted only 6 passes, but completed 3 of them for 109 yards and a touchdown. He rushed for 107 yards and a touchdown as well. The Falcons returned 8 starters on offense with 7 to the defense from a 10-3 team a season ago. They did beat up a lot of down programs with their high-profile games, resulting in losses at San Diego State, Army, and Utah State. They did go into a down Boise State club last year and win 24-17. Daniels is not afraid to throw a football. Air Force did give up chunks of yards in the passing game, so the play here will be Colorado and Air Force over a total of 45 points. That was our college football pick show for action on Saturday from week number 2. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free college football picks are updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports. We also have NFL. We also have Major League Baseball, WNBA, CFL, European football, a lot more. So it is a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support the channel, like the video, give us a thumbs up. Hey, that'll do it for the show. Back to